Hello and welcome to Shannon Gardens. Thank you guys so much for joining me. So I'm so excited because the cooler weather has finally come in. The first day of fall, it was 92 degrees, so it wasn't very cool. But now I checked the forecast. The next 10 days, it's showing mild weather in the 70s, and it's the perfect time to go ahead and get my fall and winter vegetables and herbs in our raised containers. So I wanted to bring you guys along with me and show you what I'm planting. All right, so I'm ready to get my herbs in the raised beds, and I wanted to show you guys what I choose to plant in the fall for fall and winter. So I've got, let's see, I'll start with sage first. I tend to use this a lot in the fall and winter, so that works out really well to have fresh sage. And then I've got cilantro, which is always a bit surprising to me. I used to think of that as more of a spring and summer type of herb. However, mine always died in the summer. That never quite worked out for me. So the last couple of falls, I've planted it and it's done really, really well. Now it can die off in the winter, depending on how cold our winter is, but it lasts for a long time and does so much better for me in the fall than it does in the spring. So I've got my cilantro. I've got thyme here. I've got parsley, just right here. And then I'm trying something new. It's called Winter Savory, and that's here. It's an evergreen leaf. It looks similar to thyme, and it says that's a very aromatic, peppery thyme scent. So I've never tried that before, but when I saw it, I thought, why not? And so let's go ahead and get these in the container. Okay, so I'm ready to get these herbs planted. And what I did is I kind of spaced them out. I'd like my taller ones here in the back and then my shorter ones in the front here. And I'm leaving some room over in this area. Usually in the spring and summer, I have this completely filled with herbs. However, there's not as many that I plant in the fall and winter. So I'm leaving this area to maybe grab a couple more vegetables and put them over here. And that way I'm capitalizing on all the space that I have in my containers. So let's just get these in, which is so easy. This is the joy of having raised garden beds, is the planting is very, very easy. And I don't have to work the soil. I think I'm going to bring this one out just a little bit more. There we go. It's as easy as that. So I wanted to share with you guys the vegetables that I'm going to be planting this year. Most of them I've planted before in years prior, but I am trying my hand at a couple of new ones. The first being broccoli, which I have here, and I've got 4 plants. So I've never planted broccoli before, but I'm very excited to try it. I do love broccoli, so I'm excited to try this one. And then my second new one that I've never planted before is spinach. And I got a couple plants of spinach. And what I learned, I took a recent class on cool season vegetable planting, and I've learned that spinach can tolerate a little bit of shade. So they said not a lot of shade by any means, but it can tolerate a little bit. So I may choose to put that in a little shadier of an area where I have my containers, since it can evidently tolerate that. So I'm excited about my spinach. And then my regular plants that I normally plant are collards, which I also love, and they are very good in my zone, which is zone 7B. They are tolerant of our winters here, and it just do very well. So I've always had good luck with collard greens. So gonna plant those. Now I'm also planting romaine lettuce, and I also found that you can plant romaine lettuce closer together because they grow in an upright pattern rather than out so much, and because I do tend to harvest as they grow, so I choose the outer leaves and then let the leaves in the center grow out. They tend to be rather thin plants and they can go closer together, so I'm very excited about that. Now you'll notice I've got a romaine plant here. I've actually got two this size, but I decided that I wanted more romaine lettuce, so I went to Walmart and they had some. The other vegetables I got were from a local landscaping store, but in this case I got a 6-pack of romaine lettuce, and it was right around $5, I believe, between $4.50 and $5. And so that was a very good value, but you will notice that these plants right here are quite a bit smaller than these plants. So while I did spend less getting these, their root system isn't going to be quite as established as the others, and I'll just have to keep an eye on them a little bit more than I would the other plants to make sure that they establish nicely and they don't get too hot and dry out too quickly. So I want to keep an eye on those, since I did choose the smaller option for those plants, the 6-pack. And then last, I got another kind of lettuce, and this is mild musclin mix. And so I will be putting that in. I just figured I'd put something in that's a little different lettuce-wise, but that's it. And that in addition to my herbs, and I think that all my containers will be full. So let's get these in the planter. Okay, so I have my plants kind of laid out so I can have an idea of how I want to plant and how much spacing I should have in between each one. The broccoli is going to need a little more space, so I put those on the end and then moved from out in. I did put my romaine lettuces closer together. As I mentioned, I like to harvest as it grows, so I don't let it form a complete plant and then cut the entire plant. I harvest as it grows, so it does remain a bit thinner. And then in my leftover space by my herbs, I put the 2 spinach plants, because I would say that this gets a little more shade than my other ones in the morning, and then 1 romaine. We also replaced the soil, about 50 or 60% of the soil, when we took out the old plants and put new raised bed soil in, and also added some vegetable starter fertilizer, which I found that you want to start your vegetables with starter fertilizer before moving on to your standard vegetable fertilizer. All right, I'm going to get these in the ground. All right, you guys, I am so excited. The herbs and vegetables are in. I've got my spinach over here and a little bit of romaine. And then in this planter, I've got my collards, some romaine, and broccoli. As well as this planter, I've got broccoli and romaine, and then my musclin lettuce. And I think it looks beautiful. I will get these plants watered and they should be good to go. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I am so excited that I've got my herbs and vegetables in for the fall and winter, and am looking forward to a lot of salad and some collard greens and broccoli. So thank you again. Please make sure to like and subscribe. And until next time, bye.